Welcome back to Brian Knows Movies. This week we are talking about one of my most anticipated films this year and my most anticipated film of August, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Halina Reijn makes her English directorial debut with Bodies, 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 starring Amila Stenberg, Maria Bakalova, and Pitt Davidson. This movie is about a group of friends who decide to get together and to party. They're partying their way through a hurricane. A hurricane is coming into town. They're going to shelter in place at one of their friends' mansions, and they're going to just have a good time. I mentioned the mansion on purpose because you immediately realize that this group of Gen Zers, they come from privilege, they come from money, they're used to kind of doing whatever they want to do, having fun at the expense of their parents. They decide to shelter in place at their parents' mansion, and things are going well. Even though someone shows up unexpectedly, they still find a way to have some fun. The person they weren't expecting was Sophia, played by Stenberg. They were not expecting her because she had ghosted them. She hadn't responded to any of the group chats. In fact, she's been incognito for quite some time, ever since she got out of drug rehab. Yes, this is pretty melodramatic. Anyway, they're happy that she's there. At least some of them are. Some have some trepidation, but all of that kind of goes out the window when it's time to party. They start the party off right. They got the drinks. They're having fun at the pool. All of a sudden, cocaine is introduced, and it seems like everybody is doing lines of cocaine. Things get out of control pretty quickly. B, who's played by Maria Bakalova, is Sophia's girlfriend that Sophia also invited on the trip. The group pretty much accepts her pretty quickly, and B's having a great time. She's drinking, she's partying, she's dancing, but what she's also doing is making Sophia jealous by dancing just a little too close to Jordan, played by Mahalia Harold. So Sophia has to do something. She decides is, hey, it's time to play their favorite game, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Now, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is basically just this murder mystery. Somebody's selected to be the murderer. They cut the lights off. Everybody scatters. The murderer's supposed to go on, tap somebody on the back and kill them. The lights come up, and they try to figure out who the murderer is. So it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be light, but guess what? Someone actually dies. Somebody's actually murdered in the house. There's no trust in the group. Everybody's high out of their mind. There's a dead body on the ground. What do we do? Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is a fun movie. You really find yourself enamored with the characters. You like them, you hate them, and those feelings vacillate back and forth as the movie progresses, which is pretty good for a horror movie to have that type of character development, especially with something like a 90-minute runtime. You like the characters. Manla Stenberg is great. Pete Davidson, he's basically just playing himself, but that's what you want him to do. Maria Bakalova is great. Really, everybody in the movie does what they're supposed to do very well. You enjoy the satire. It's making light of Gen Z. The addiction to the phones, the addiction to the internet, the addiction to the need to feel validated all the time. Wokeism, woke culture, if you will. Some of the stuff lands. I think some of the stuff is funny, but you know, the satire for me sometimes falls flat. I can promise you that anybody, I don't care what your generation is for the most part, you're going to be stressed out if your power is cut off during a hurricane, there is no internet, there's no way to call out to get help, and somebody is dead in the house. It's not just the need for the technology that we've all grown addicted to, but also the seriousness of the situation, if you will. So some of it works for me, some of it doesn't, but even past the satire, the movie's fun. You're really trying to figure out who is the killer. Who doesn't like a well-done whodunit? I actually thought the cocaine use was a bit out of place. There's a lot of writing about how this generation is actually less likely to use drugs. But there's new stuff coming out since the pandemic's been going on about how this generation is highly susceptible to addiction, and it has to do with loneliness, depression, living in the world that we're in. Some of them do turn to drugs. It also seems like the movie is trying to capture the buzz around euphoria, drug craze, sex crazed teenagers, and young adults doing all kind of crazy things. It seems like it's trying to live in that vein, but also make fun of it at the same time. I think it's pretty successful at that as well. Halina Reijn is an unknown director to us here in the States. This is her first English-speaking film. I think she did well in terms of giving the cast the space to do the things that they needed to do, but she also created this world where it was very psychedelic. Some of her decisions and choices on shots, making it kind of feel a little trippy. A great use of cell phones by the cast as well, to create the light that brings a little bit more, I don't want to say horror, but more intrigue into each scene. Anyway, I know you guys are ready for my rating of this coked out murder spree, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Is it see it, stream it, or skip it? I am giving Bodies, Bodies, Bodies a see it. It was a really fun experience in the theater. We had a lot of people in the theater that I was in. People laughed when they were supposed to. You really don't take the horror that seriously because it's not that scary. Slashers are hard to make scary, but you are still invested. Don't run into that room. Why are you doing these things? All the slasher tropes that have become a little bit tired at this point. It feels fresh in this film because of the scenario and the world building that takes place. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy that loves movies. Thanks again for joining me. If you liked this review, please share this on all your platforms. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be here every week giving you the goods on the new releases. Also, I want to hear from Gen Z in the comments section. Do you think this movie is an accurate portrayal of Gen Z? If you see it, let me know your thoughts. I'm just an older millennial. I don't want to speak for you, so let me know. Educate me. August has started off great. I really loved Bullet Train last week. You can see my review on Bullet Train right there. There's a lot more movies coming out this month that I'm excited about as well. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you at the theaters next week.